Spring is probably the best time to test your DIY chops, so today I'll be showing you how to make flower gardening a little easier. If you're anything like me, your schedule might be a little full, and that makes it hard to have beautiful flower gardens without the time to devote to aggressive weeding and other tending duties. So I've come up with a strategy on how to reclaim my flower gardens from all of the weeds. Rather than putting in annual flowers and other things that need to be constantly tended or replanted every spring, I want to go with as many perennial plants in my gardens as possible. Perennial plants don't need to be replanted year after year, they'll just keep growing, and I like flowers and bushes and other things like that, so that's what I'm gonna go with. However, I have tried sprinkling perennial seeds in my flower gardens in the past, and the problem there is that when all of the seedlings are just starting to pop up above the surface, it's really difficult for me to tell the difference between a weed seedling and the seedlings of the perennial flowers that I planted. So I want to start all of my seeds inside in a planter box first. The idea of a planter box isn't a new one. You can find lots of different kinds of planter boxes at your local hardware store. Ones like this are probably the most common and also the cheapest. The unfortunate thing about them, though, is that it's made of plastic, and some of them even have these weird little inserts that you have to purchase again the next time you want to plant seeds in it. This one is nice because it's just one that you can fill with your own potting soil, but still, it's made out of plastic, it's a little flimsy and weird, and it just doesn't strike me as especially eco-friendly. So instead of purchasing a plastic planter box or 2 or 5 from your local hardware store, why not just use something you already have? Anybody who eats eggs could just use their egg carton. Again, this has to be the cardboard kind, not the plastic or the styrofoam kind. That kind of defeats the purpose of this being, ecologically friendly. Plus, the cardboard will biodegrade, which I'll show you why that's important in a little while. So in order to turn this cardboard egg carton into a planter box, the first thing I need to do is remove the top, lid portion, because we don't need that. But it pops off pretty easily. There we go. So you can just recycle this bit or maybe put it in your compost pile, whatever you want to do. And then we're just left with the actual egg part. So I'm gonna fill all of the little cavities in here with potting soil first, and then we'll get on to the seeds. All right, so the potting soil that I'm using is already pre-moistened, so we don't have to wet this first, but now I'm going to put in my seeds. And I've got a few different perennials, all different heights and things like that. So I think because they're different heights, I'm actually gonna seed them, in rows, so that later on I can just sort of pop it in the ground if I want, or I could still separate the cups. But like I said, I'll show you that later. So first I'm gonna put in the seeds, just, making a little divot in the soil with my pinky, put 1 or 2, maybe 3 seeds of the plant in the divot, and then covering it over gently. Once your egg carton planter is all full of seeds, you can put it in a window so it starts getting sun so the seeds can grow. Again, you might want something underneath it so that the water that you're watering the seeds with doesn't wind up on your windowsill, because that could be bad for the wood. So you could put a plastic dish under it, but if we're trying to be eco-friendly, you might want to choose something other than plastic. So I picked up, an old metal cookie sheet or whatever from the local thrift store for a few cents, and it works just fine. I don't care if it gets a little rusty on the surface because it's going to do a good job keeping the water off of my wooden windowsill. So then I'm just gonna use a spray bottle to spritz a little water on the top of the soil to get the seeds started. And then just let your seeds hang out. Just like all seeds, they'll take anywhere from a few days to a week or two to start growing. But if you leave them in the sun and you spritz them with water occasionally, they should turn out just fine. It's a few weeks later now, and the seedlings in the egg carton on my windowsill have grown up really nicely. It's a wonderful warm spring day out here, and I think we're getting close to the end of the days where it might be frosting during the night, so I feel comfortable bringing my seedlings outside and planting them here in it's a planter bucket in my front garden. So let's get started. Like I said, one of the best things about using the cardboard egg carton as our garden planter is that it's biodegradable. So that means that after I put the egg carton and the potting soil and the seedling into the dirt here, the egg carton cardboard will eventually rot and just become part of the soil, and the seedling will stay behind. But what's also good about the cardboard is that the more times I water it while the seedlings are growing on my windowsill, the more the cardboard already starts to break down. So it means that I can separate all of the little egg carton cups like this. So I can just pull out one seedling at a time in its little cardboard cup and then plant it in the soil just like so. So I'm gonna dig a hole here in the dirt in my little potting pot. Well, it's a bucket, my potting bucket here, and then I will put in the little egg carton cup. Well, maybe not quite so deep. I'll put in the egg carton cup and then pack some of the soil here in the bucket around it. Ta-da! And now my little seedling is ready to go. I'm gonna pour some water on it, but it's in a nice sunny location here, and it should be happy now that it's spring. Don't forget to water your seedlings and check on them every once in a while. If you put them out really early in the spring, you might want to cover them with blankets or sheets or towels or something during the really cold nights so that the frost doesn't hurt them, but otherwise they should be good to go. And if you picked perennial seedlings like I did, then your plants will be good in your garden for years to come. If you liked this video, don't forget to like it. If you didn't like this video, please share it with someone who would. And if you'd like to support the Roving Naturalist, remember to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon. You can also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and read more science on my blog. I'm also a periodic contributor on the radio show Blue Dot, and you can catch me on Dungeon Dwellers on Twitch every other Monday playing Dungeons & Dragons. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.